Welcome to the free audiobook version of The Everyday Pain Guide, your go-to guide when pain first strikes. Hi, I'm Dr. Ya-Ling Liu, and the podcast is taking a little detour to make my new book available in an audio-friendly version for everyone out there. Each episode will feature a bite-sized snippet from the book, and together we'll work our way through as much of it as is possible in this format. What's exciting about this is that I'm reading parts of the book to you before it's even available on the shelves. Plus, unlike with a traditional audiobook, you can engage with the content and chat with me about what you hear. You get to ask questions and tell me what you think as each episode rolls out. So sit back and relax as I bring you today's installment of the second book in the Everyday Pain Guide series, Fix the Fire Damage. Congrats! You've made it through 2/3 of the book. If you've been listening from the beginning, we've now covered body mechanics and body chemistry. And today, it's time to start taking a look at how stress biology figures into our journey out of pain. So buckle up as we begin section 3, the final part of Fix the Fire Damage. Stress Biology Repair Guide. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This quotation by Marcus Aurelius is not necessarily in reference to physical pain, but the essence of its ancient insight touches on an important aspect of emerging pain neuroscience. Pain is largely an output by the brain and nervous system, which means that pain perception, i.e. your estimate of it, is as much, if not more, the result of your brain's expectation of damage as it is from actual damage. In this way, physical pain sensation is less due to the thing we think is causing it and more due to our worries about it. Research is showing us that our pain experiences are heavily based on an interpretation of threat level by our central nervous system. The more dangerous you perceive a situation to be, the more pain you will experience, depending on how intensely your stress biology was triggered by that situation. Unfortunately, some providers and patients have taken this as further evidence to perpetuate a deep-rooted misunderstanding that pain is imaginary, a fabrication by the mind, and you should therefore be able to think your way out of pain. It's true that your outlook can significantly influence your experience of pain, and the situation is often not as dire as it might feel. However, pain is endlessly multifaceted and requires a real multi-pronged approach, not some magical mental fix. It's essential to recognize the real physical impact of your stress biology, and although sometimes instrumental, even the best cognitive behavioral therapy won't single-handedly reverse the underlying neurobiology of your pain once it has taken hold. The field of psychoneuroimmunology looks at the influence of mental and emotional stress on your body, including the impact it can have on your inflammation biology. As covered in Volume 1 and revisited in this volume's Body Mechanics chapters, the inflammation process is part of our universal biological safety mechanism, which, by design, needs to occur automatically so we can defend against injury or infection without delay. This sort of automatic protective response is controlled by the same part of our nervous system responsible for all other automatic survival functions, including things like the pumping of your heart and the filling of your lungs. It's this survival-oriented part of your nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, that is constantly scanning for and assessing levels of danger versus safety, both inside your body and also in your immediate environment. When analyzing tissue injury or pain, Your autonomic nervous system's simultaneous assessment of danger versus safety influences the inflammation biology at that location and sometimes body-wide. This is why focusing on body mechanics and body chemistry alone isn't always adequate for complete resolution of inflammation-related pain problems. Sometimes we also need to explicitly tend to our nervous system and the emotional stress triggers in order to soothe that automatic survival-based reaction within our pain experiences. Your pain is not all in your head, but it is biologically in your brain and nervous system. Even though there is naturally a limit, it's commonly known that by using tools like biofeedback, mindfulness, and stress management, we can, to some degree, influence our automatic functions such as heart rate and breathing. Since our perception of pain is also linked to the autonomic nervous system, just like heart rate and breathing are, our pain experiences are also within our conscious control, but only to an extent. You can't simply will your heart to stop beating with the power of your mind. And even if you were to succeed in holding your breath long enough, your brain would force you to pass out eventually, which restarts automatic breathing. Since pain and inflammation also have their legitimate survival-based roles to fill, it's important to yield to your body's pain wisdom, at least to some degree, and in the right context. What is the right context for yielding to pain? When it's still a new experience at the earliest opportunity and with an exit strategy in sight. Your central nervous system's analysis and its resulting conclusions about danger or safety are heavily influenced by a vast catalog of your prior life experiences. It's through the lens of your unique history of previous sensations, pain, and relative safety or lack thereof that your brain and nervous system shape all aspects of pain suffering. For this reason, as you continue to explore your everyday aches and pains, you'll be creating new perceptions to add to that catalog, potentially transforming your future pain. In this third action plan to help you fix your stress biology, you'll find ways to navigate the release, retrain, and reinforce phases of action as they relate to emotional stress triggers. Mental and emotional garbage in. Just like food, liquids, air, soaps, and lotions from the 3 garbage journeys of Section 2, psychological stress has been found to also add measurable biological burden. Emotional stress causes oxidative strain on your cells, damaging them and creating cellular debris. In Section 2, you learn the concept of balancing garbage in with garbage out as a way to manage pain and inflammation. With the added biological burden of emotional stress garbage, any cellular waste from mechanical and or chemical strain can become more problematic than expected. When even the tiniest imperfections in posture or the slightest exposure to the wrong food seems to trigger sudden severe discomfort, it's reasonable to consider that there may be a pre-existing, simmering, emotional, stress-related burden just under the surface. During or around emotionally stressful transitions in life, it's quite common to experience episodes of everyday pain that seem mysterious or like overreactions to minor mechanical or biochemical triggers that we otherwise tolerate easily. Examples of such life transitions might include moving to a new city, starting a new job, ending or starting a relationship, or the death of a loved one. The emotional stress of all of these events, whether positive or negative, can pose a significant biological strain and set you up for easily triggered pain episodes. From sections 1 and 2, you know by now that by simply taking control and feeling windows of relief, you've given yourself the hope of improvement and set the stage for better coping with your pain. However, how you cope with stress in other areas of your life may still be reinforcing certain body holding patterns, self care habits, and beliefs about your health that feed both the mechanical and chemical fires of inflammation body wide. Sometimes it's not until we tame our emotional stress triggers and reshape our coping mechanisms in all areas of our life that we're finally able to stop the relapses of body aches and pains. That completes the first of 6 episodes dedicated to the Stress Biology Repair Guide chapter from Volume 2 of the Everyday Pain Guide series, Fix the Fire Damage. A lot of my patients, seeing me for their pain, end up talking to me about their stress levels. Many people are aware that it's a factor, but they don't always know that it doesn't have to be. Have you ever had a crazy pain episode from doing regular everyday things, specifically after one of those emotional transitions in life, like starting a new job or getting married or moving households? Please feel free to share your experience with that over on my Substack, Better Pain Coping, or you can just email me directly if you have specific thoughts or questions for me. In the next episode, I'll introduce you to what I call the stress biology influencers. Just as there were some key influencers inside the body chemistry repair guide and action plan, there are influencers to our stress biology as well. And once we gain awareness and understanding of them, we can better control the impact that stress has on our pain. See you then. This episode was an excerpt from The Everyday Pain Guide, your go-to guide when pain first strikes. Written and narrated by me, Dr. Ya-Ling Liu, with audio editing and production provided by Organized Sound Productions. Do you have questions or comments about today's episode? You can shoot me an email anytime at hello@stopeverydaypain.com. That's HELLO@stopeverydaypain.com. If you have friends or family members who you know are struggling with persistent, recurring aches and pains, tell them to check out the podcast while they're waiting for the book. To help me get this information to as many people who need it as possible, please consider leaving an honest review, but I'd also be super grateful for a simple like, follow, or share. Thank you for helping me put a stop to everyday pain.